Happy Thursday, everybody. MLM Heretic here. Episode 7. Network marketers, prove your theory of residual income to me. I get approached for income opportunities all the time from network marketers, and they keep telling me I can easily earn a residual income with them and their company that sells whatever it sells. But is that really the case? Because when I give them a chance to prove it, and then I disprove their theory, they don't want to talk to me anymore. And the reason is because they're looking for stupid people. And my mama didn't raise no dummy. In most companies, the product is an afterthought. And the one I promote is the main thought. Why? Because without a product to sustain external consumption by non-distributors, then you'll only be promoting an opportunity that's determined only by the value of incentivized ordering by those participating in the compensation structure. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but that's what federal regulators and many detractors identify as the defining flaw of the MLM model. And they're absolutely correct in their assessment, even though multitudes of MLM industry proponents, trainers, gurus, company owners, DSA members, it doesn't matter. They refuse to acknowledge this simple and obvious fact. And there are plenty of companies which fall into this category of internal consumption only, or consumption based on what has come to be known as the churn. Now, the churn, if for those of you who don't know, is the cyclical phenomenon of new recruits replacing old recruits as they quit buying and recruiting. And this is apparent in many companies as well. How many people stay in any company long-term is relatively low compared to the amount of people that join and subsequently go relatively quickly. That's why so many MLM junkies go from program to program, and they're trying to find that one that will deliver on the promise of residual income. But few ever do. They can understand the concept of geometric growth and compounded leverage as the ideal compensation model. But what they don't understand is the very simple yet profound law of supply and demand. Gurus completely ignore this to their own shame and to the widespread defrauding of well-intentioned but uneducated multitudes who have been hurt by the industry. That is why I hammer on them so hard. They know this fact, but if they reveal this simple truth, they would no longer have a client base in whom they can scam. And make no mistake, they're ripping people off and they're laughing all the way to the bank about it. The people who are really good at recruiting and get a lot of people to buy into the generic dream of network marketing based on raw multiplication seldom, if ever, have a product that will sustain long-term use. This is just the well-documented reality of our industry, which so many choose to ignore because if they spoke about it or even whispered it in the dark when they're alone, their faith in the model would begin to erode if they had any moral compass at all. But most people who've been in the industry long enough to come to this realization don't care anymore. And they've just gotten to the point where they accept attrition and using other people for their own selfish ends as an accepted part of doing business. And then they justify this with some type of rationalization that the person who ended up losing money, it was because they were a quitter. They quit, they're a loser. They didn't have what it takes. They didn't want to learn. Well, I tell you what, many people quit because they were not told the whole story in the beginning and critical information was conveniently left out. If one does not know the right questions to ask because they're uninformed about the industry, that's not their fault. The blame falls squarely upon the person who determines full disclosure was not in their own best interest in order to close the sale. I don't close people. I ask them what they think, and then I let them tell me. If I have to manipulate someone's desire for gain, or even worse, their fear of loss, without actually identifying whether or not they will do the work involved in order to be profitable, then I'm not serving them. What I'm doing is I'm hoping they will have the same pathological defect that I have. It will motivate them to do the same thing to the others as I did to them. Statistics prove that they won't. Many people quit this industry because they understand that in order to succeed, they had to become deceptive and rely on psychological manipulation to build an organization of any size. And most people are not wired for that. I'm not wired for that. I'm not wired to be a dishonest person. And especially if they are told to do it to their friends and family. And this is another reason for the rise of the attraction marketing gurus, because if you don't have to care about the person you're trying to establish a business relationship with, it's much easier to do those manipulative and deceptive things to them. What's the alternative? Well, I've actually been working on a plan for over 3 years to create a working prototype for an MLM compensation program that has delivered on the promise of residual income through the documented, proven, repeat sales to the same customers in the database of the company. This isn't a theory. It's not hypothetical. The people who are currently on automatic order with my company and my own customers have been on automatic order every month for a period of 8 years on average. That one statistic alone should tell you volumes about the value of our products to our customers. I've been on automatic order for over 25 years, and I have many customers who've been on automatic order for over 20. But here's the problem we ran into in establishing that statistic. Many of us did it in a very inefficient manner by having a lot of people who did the very things I just mentioned previously to build their business. It's because they and myself fell into that network marketing prospecting model, and we ignored the key issues that I'm addressing right here today. So if you have that magic formula product that people buy without compensation plan, incentivizing their use, then you have to, or you should, figure out a way to do it that will not bring shame upon the industry. Because if you do, you're not only hurting others, you're hurting yourself. Thanks for your time. I hope you all have a great weekend.